Alright guys, so I know it's been a while since I've done anything with the B benders, but there's been a couple parts that I've been wanting to change on these guys, and I've been sending some of the kits with it and just kind of describing in like the messaging of how to do it. But with this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over how to install this lower arm is what I call it. It's the L bracket. It's this dude here. I'm going over how I install it with the way I send the kits now. To put this guy in, as you can tell here, what I've done is, if you haven't seen my other videos, I'll link them right here where you can go and see those of how to get to this point here. Basically, all I've done is I've used a Forstner bit to route out this on the top. I drilled a small hole with like probably a 1/16 inch bit through the where I marked the center at. And then I countersink these bearings here, and they're 5/8 bearings. I used a Forstner bit for that. And then I did it on both sides. I did it on this side, and I did it on this side. Once I got that done, I basically went in there and I drilled this center part out, because when I got done countersinking these guys, I only had a 1/16 inch bit drilled there. So I drilled it up to like a 1/4 inch. Then I went up a step, and then I went all the way to a 7/16. And once you start getting to the bigger bits, when you drill this dude out, spin them backwards, and it will drill this thing out, but it won't tear out a lot of this material if you just, in your drill, if you'll spin it backwards. If you're using a drill press, you can do that too. You'll have to obviously run it forwards unless yours has a reverse on it, but I just used a standard drill, battery drill, and just stuck it in here and spun it backwards until it drilled it out. But anyways, if you need more information on that, like I said, go to that video that I posted there and you can find out about that. Now, to put these dudes in, I've got one of my bearings. When you buy a kit from it comes with 2 bearings. You put a bearing in the top, and you want to countersink it to where it's smooth to the top. And then the same to the bottom. And I used to glue these guys in here, but going the way I'm doing it now, you don't have to do that. I've got my knob here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this dude up through my bearings. Simple enough. So there is that. And then when I send these kits, I send them with 4 washers. And they're just washers, and you don't have to use all 4. Some you might need to use 2, some you might need to use 3. In my case, I'm having to use all 4. Now, when you get these these lower arms, they normally come with a number on the side. If you can read the number right side up from the outside of this guitar, that's the top part. If you get one of these unpolished, usually the top looks like this and the bottom's unfinished, so it's easier to tell. But if you get one that's polished, a lot of times it's harder to tell because I polish the whole part when I do that. But anyway, so I'm going to just put this guy on here and do that. I just put it on there. And if you can get your fingers underneath it, you can twist this guy until it goes on. Okay, now so I've got it pretty much finger tight now. Now the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little Allen wrench. I'm going to flip the guitar over. I'm going to take this Allen wrench, and it's just a small Allen wrench, and I'm going to stick it through the hole here. That just gives me some leverage. I'm going to take my fingers. I'm just going to try to tighten this guy down as tight as I can get it. Like so. Now, there shouldn't be a lot of resistance. If there is resistance here when you turn this guy, there's a lot of resistance. You could have one of these bearings could be in at an angle, and it's causing it to bite on the knob. If it's really tight, you might need to drill out the center part of where I had that hole drilled a while ago, where I used the bit and I went backwards. You might need to drill that out a little bit bigger so it's not biting on the side of the wood. So now I can easily take my fingers and move this guy back and forth. Now that that's locked down, you take your square nut that comes with the kit and put it on there. And you can use whatever. You can use a pair of channel locks, crescent wrench, whatever. But you just want to take that dude and torque it down as tight as you can get it. And there we go. Now the lower arm is installed. The only other thing you might want to be aware of is this: if this guy, if I put the string in right here and it comes out over here, you would want to wrap it again, or you could even take it. Sometimes it will tell you that this end backwards, and if it is, flip your knob over and flip your lever over, and it will relocate where this string goes through at. How well you can see it or not, but this hole right here for where the string goes in is countersunk. So when the string goes in, there's one side that's not. If you look on this side, you can tell it just kind of comes out at an angle. But on this side, it's countersunk, and the string ferrule will actually sit in that hole. So your string ferrule's not sitting out here, it's actually countersunk into the knob. And that would be the way the string would go. It would come through here and come out and then go around and then go into the back of the bridge. One of the other things I'm looking at starting to maybe sell too is if you can tell here, I've got this guy set up with I've basically drilled a hole in the back of this bridge, and I've put in it's basically a set screw, a little brass set screw, and I've drilled a hole through the center of it, and it just gives it angle down onto this bridge. A lot of times, some of the problems you'll have with these saddles, brass saddles, is they will wear a groove eventually in a brass saddle. To solve that, you can use the Graphtec that I use for the other saddles. They also sell these in these guys too. I just haven't been able to get these. They're kind of expensive, and having to buy 3 of these at a time and sell them. A lot of times, if you're going to change one of these out, you can change all of them out. The other way to do it is to make sure you get a solid steel saddle. A solid steel saddle will not put a groove in it like a brass saddle will, if that makes sense.